Welcome to another episode of Midweek Drum Hang. This episode will feature the very talented good buddy of mine, Rob Houk, from the band Aqueous. And I'm just waiting for him, but until he gets here, I gotta let everyone know. This stuff right here, hop water, it's where it's at. There's tons of different brands doing it. I've really only had this one, and Lagunitas makes one as well. It's absolutely delicious. So get yourself some hop water. So, for those of you who don't know Aqueous is a band out of the Buffalo area. Super awesome. Actually, Rob's here right now, so I'm just going to have him join. We'll talk a little bit more about all that stuff. So here we go. Rob is there. We go. Hey, buddy.
Can you see me?
I can see you. Can you see me?
I can see you.
There you go.
I didn't know you were gonna do like a man bun thing. I'm gonna do mine too. I didn't realize. Here, I'll do mine too.
Otherwise,
There we go.
What ends up happening is that I'm just
It's not
doing this the whole time, and I'm going like pushing my hair out of my face.
sure.
Stop.
Yeah, I don't like my hair in my eyes.
And it's now at a level where like it curls under and goes right into my eye all day long.
Yep.
So, how you doing?
Great, man. Great. Can't complain.
You're in Buffalo?
It's Buffalo summertime, so it's like I don't know, pretty perfect right now. It was hot the last couple days, but
You've got like 3 months of perfect weather.
right. Right. And then it all goes to shit right after that.
Yeah, my mom went to college in Buffalo.
Okay.
So she was always talking about just like the legendary snowstorms of just like 6-foot snow drifts.
Yeah. It just doesn't stop. It's like living in a snow globe for like a couple months.
So you're originally from, I didn't know this, but you're originally from Cincinnati?
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
live there when you joined the band?
Yeah, I pretty much to join the band was that was kind of the thing I had to do.
Yeah.
So the commute of 7.5 hours doesn't really work so hot.
No, it's a lot. I can imagine. You know, funny enough, I actually considered auditioning for Aqueous when that was happening.
Yeah. Huh.
But I mean, I was in Dope Pod, but
Yeah.
I was before anything even happened, and I've never talked about this before, but I honestly was like, maybe I'd be happier in this band. You know, they're still like growing a lot. I would say up and coming, but I know that the guys formed the band in like 2006 or something. So,
Right.
But I didn't want.
How long can you up and come? You know.
And I'm glad that you got the gig. I mean, you're
thanks, man.
You're like,
thanks.
Besides maybe the first drummer, I don't know how long he was in the band, but you're like the longest running drummer right now.
I think I'm at almost 5 years. It'll be 5 years next March. So
I mean,
I'm in it.
I remember
I'm deep in it.
When you joined, because we were doing a lot of gigs together, and especially like festival stuff. But yeah, I remember when it was like every year it was just who was the drummer of the band. So I'm glad that 5 years strong they found their guy.
Sure, man. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Awesome. I can't. I think I'll be stopped and taken out if I were to ever leave. So.
So how did it all happen? Like, how'd you find out about the audition, decide you were going to do it, and the whole shebang?
Yeah. Well, there was like they did finally did like a national audition. I think they just got tired of, I don't know, I guess, the pool had run dry or something in Buffalo, and they just decided to go national with it and say, let's see what happens. And I found out about it through people, like sharing it on Facebook and saying like, "Oh, this band's looking for a drummer," and I said maybe I'd be a good fit. And I had seen them like a couple years prior, and I remember thinking to myself like, I'd really like to play drums with this band. So I ended up checking out their catalog and really being like actual fan. Like I became a really big fan of their music through kind of understanding their catalog and listening to it. And then that's when I was like, all right, I think I'm gonna give it a shot, and worked on the tunes and eventually went up for an audition after I sent a video in, and here we are.
The rest is history.
Yeah, for a little bit I was commuting back and forth between Cincinnati and Buffalo, and finally made the move up to Buffalo, and yeah, really really different world than I was used to. It's a lot snowier, so
Oh yeah.
yeah, I really enjoy it though.
You're still in that like cold, like Buffalo is like if it wasn't in New York, it would be almost Midwest. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. It really is. It definitely has some Midwestern vibes to it, even though it's like if New York and the Midwest like crashed into each other and
yeah.
exploded, or something like that. And it's yeah, I definitely compare it to that. It's like a New York Midwest.
So were you guys out or about to go out and do shows? Were you in the middle of tour when all of this kind of happened?
Um, so when Corona happened,
Yeah, you know, when this
um,
happened. I think
when
we're
when
at a
the
point
whole
where
when
we
the
have like
whole when
Wednesday.
everything happened. Um, we were actually almost as far away from home as we could possibly get. Um, we were out in San Diego about to do a run with Humphreys McGee, and the day of the first night in San Diego, the whole thing was just like, all right, nope, NBA's canceled, concerts are canceled, life's canceled. So we were pretty much as far away from home as we could possibly be. So luckily we were in California, I guess, the bright side. My sister lives out in California, so I got an opportunity to hang with her. So that was good. It was definitely enjoyable, even though it was kind of somber. Like couldn't really go do anything. It's like nobody's allowed to leave the house. So
Yeah, and
flew home a couple
especially
days later, and
you're and especially since you're about to go on tour with, you know, a band that I know is, you know, you guys look up to big
right.
time and you're about to do, which I know you've done shows together, but was this like the first like a solid run of shows or have you guys done?
I think so. Yeah, I think it was like the first like full kind of like, especially on the West Coast. Like I think we've done a couple runs together before, but like this was our first time with them out on the West Coast, and it was going to be kind of a really good way for us to kind of get our foot in the door out there, and be seen by some fans of Bumpers McGee. And I don't know, it would have been cool, but it is what it is.
I had Chris on last week, so we were.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw
I kind of just had
that.
this conversation with him about like where were you when it all happened? What was it like? So
Yeah. Yeah, ironically, pretty similar story, but
yeah. Well, I mean that's definitely a great pairing. I always felt like you
yeah,
guys like you can you have your own blend of like I can tell the bands that you are inspired by, but you also have a very
sure,
original sense of doing it. And like bands like Umphreys and Mo, like the summer camp marriage that is
yeah,
definitely something. So I can only imagine that that's like I know how it was for me when I got the phone call that like I was gonna go on tour for 3 weeks with Umphreys.
yeah.
Finally.
No, yeah, and also like we really have a good time just hanging out with them too. So like, not only is like the opportunity to play with some of your like favorite players kind of stripped away, but it's also like you don't get to hang out with your friends. So it's kind of a bummer on all levels.
Yeah. I mean, I know. I literally was just talking with Callie about this and how when I was like right before everything happened, I was about to go on tour when all this happened. But like when it started becoming kind of real and before things shut down, I was flying out to Colorado for some shows, and it I didn't know anything. Like I had found out about coronavirus. I watched like a video about it, and I listened to like a podcast, and I felt like I wasn't that concerned. But then again, like this had
Right.
just started in Wuhan. It like wasn't really anything yet. And then cut to like a month later, I'm on this flight, and like an insane amount more of people are wearing masks, and
Sure.
my bandmates like, "Are you afraid of flying right now?" I'm like, "No, we fly. Like, why would I be afraid of
Right.
flying
Am I
anymore?
supposed to be?
Should I be afraid?"
Yeah. Am I supposed to be afraid?
It wasn't until Colorado, like being out there and having to fly home, especially since like a friend of mine is a nurse out there, and she was like, "We don't have, we didn't get any test results back or anything yet, but like we have potentially, I think it was like 10 cases in the hospital. So it's like
Yeah.
just starting to happen out there. New York
Right.
was already kind of experiencing its own situation, and it was happening in the country, but it became more and more like, oh, I really hope I don't get this thing that apparently, plus my dad's
Yeah.
a pulmonologist, so there's just like that understanding of what this can actually do to you is very
Sure.
real
Sure.
at
Sure.
the time. But
Yeah. It's not necessarily just the virus; it's the aftermath of the virus on your body too.
yeah,
So that's the scary part.
exactly. It's like, okay, so you survived this thing and everything's fine, but do you have asthma or heart problems for the rest of your life?
Right. Right. Yeah. And I know like when I'm on the road, I've gotten sick one time on the road. It was like I think my first tour out with the band, and I got the worst flu of my life. And like from that point on, like I like some little kid like coughed on me at an ice cream house, and I felt myself get instantly sick. I was like, I'm gonna die. And like from that day, like for like the next week, I was the sickest I've ever been. Like 100 high 100 degree temperature, and just ill. And like everybody got it.
Yeah.
But I just never wanted to feel that sick again. So like I'm super like I wash my hands constantly on the road. Like I'm always like trying to be conscious of like disinfecting things and trying not to like I just avoid getting sick. So I
Yeah.
don't know. Hopefully that I think I was like twice as bad about it
I'm,
when
I'm
this started
pretty,
happening.
I'm pretty on top of the whole, like, I wouldn't really call myself a germaphobe, but like, I definitely fall into those tendencies over the years of just,
Hmm.
I mean, I live in a household where it's very much like we take our shoes off when we walk in the house, and we immediately wash our hands. So like
Yeah.
certain concepts of this thing, like it's not much different than
Sure.
normal life, but
Right.
ultimately that's just so that like we're comfortable in our house, not having to worry about things being dirty, or like, it's not like being comfortable in our house, making sure that we're not going to get sick and maybe, probably not,
Right.
but possibly die.
Right.
It's a little different now, but I'm wondering what it's going to be like now when we finally do get back on the road and doing stuff. I mean, you might have a little bit more of an idea because you guys have been doing like the drive-through shows. Do you
Hmm.
feel like, I know ticket wise and music wise and just that overall feeling for you guys, I know it's been very successful and it feels really good. Do you feel like people are like following orders? That's the only thing I kind of get
Yeah.
worried about. Of like,
Everybody's everybody from what I've seen has been super respectful of like everybody has a space, and everybody's been like, are you okay with me coming over there, or like, and everybody's been really good about staying separate,
yeah,
and staying in the groups that they're allowed to be in, and kind of keeping to their thing. And I think people are like really kind of enjoying just being able to like not have to fight for a spot and just like relax and enjoy like music instead of like being worried about what like 10 other people around you are doing. Like I know when I'm at a show and like there's like 1,000 people around me, I'm like, I can't really pay attention to the show because I'm like, so I think just because I have really bad ADD, but I'm just like interested in what's going on around me. It's like there's music on in the background. I'm just like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So I think it's like kind of brought people to just like be able to relax and listen to music and kind of, I don't know. It's definitely a different vibe, but it feels kind of intimate. I feel like it feels like a little bit more intimate. You're able to kind of connect with people who really want to be there.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad that you guys have that, and it's worked for you. For me, it's like I'm not there or ready yet with like the whole.
sure.
For me, it's like I kind of just want everyone to stay inside for 2 months, and maybe we can go back
Yeah,
to like
I also want that too.
yeah,
So it's really hard. It's really, really hard. So I think as long as everybody's trying to follow the guideline as much as possible,
yeah,
um, I don't know. I don't know the solution.
yeah. I mean, we'll find out soon enough. At some point, we're
Yeah,
going to have to evolve one way or another. So
right.
it's just what we do as a species. You know, we're going to have to hopefully, and I'm sure we will at some point, find a solution to it all that isn't just,
Sure.
you know,
I think the
know,
solution. I think the solution is your solution of just like shutting everything down for 2 months and
it's either
just
that or letting everyone that's going to get it, and the small percentage of those people that will have issues or you know fatal
right.
issues from
We're
it.
right, and I think it's already something that we're going to deal with as a country for pretty much the rest of our lives for sure.
Yeah,
Like as the economy, people's health, it's going to be an issue for the rest of our time on this planet.
yeah.
So,
What is
unfortunately,
Do y'all think musicians in general should get used to transitioning into a studio format? Um,
I don't think it would hurt.
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll hurt, but also, I think it depends. I mean, you guys are fortunate, like you said, that you all live in Buffalo. That only for so long being traveling back and forth from Cincinnati was just not going to be sustainable and work.
Right,
For my band, it's very different. I mean, we're
right,
in Philly. We've got one person in San Francisco and another person in Denver. So
right.
until it's really safe to travel, that doesn't work for us. And improvising does not work via stream. Like the half
No,
second delay makes it impossible. So I mean, yeah, I think going in the studio and doing as much of that as possible, keeping things interesting. I like what Twiddle did with the whole like just touring and playing venues within your kind of area just to like have a different location, do a different set list and treat it that way while streaming. If you're fortunate enough to do that. A lot of bands also like their crew live in different areas. I mean, even
hmm
talking about Humphreys, like they're kind of spread out all over,
yeah,
most
yeah.
in the Midwest, but also like Charleston and you know various. It just becomes
California, not in Nashville, so they're all over the place.
it becomes really tough, and then it's like okay, so you get everyone together, but everyone's got to travel to do that. You know, it can be
Right.
hard. Mikey Karuba just joined. You know, there are people from
Hi,
they're
Mikey.
all over the country. So the
Also,
studio
that
makes
question was
perfect
from
sense for bands that can do that.
that
What'd you say?
that question was from my good friend Roland in Cincinnati. So,
Thanks,
what up, dude?
man. So let's get away from coronavirus, just as I don't want it to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we got let's socially distance from
yeah,
coronavirus for a
exactly.
moment. Let's take a social distance.
So when did you start playing drums, and how did it all go down? What made you decide to take it super serious to get to the point where you are now? You can do the long story too. You know, we've got plenty of time.
I'll get sidetracked if I do the long story. I have a feeling. I was definitely like one of the little kids that like bangs on pots and pans, like tried to make everything I possibly could a drum. So I think the natural progression was like, I think I got like my first little like, like the paper kits you get at like Toys R Us that are just like absolute garbage, but they work for like a three. I remember getting one when I was like three, and then like my first real kit, I was like six. So like I've kind of just been like obsessed with drums. Like it's always been kind of, I don't know, it like ubiquitous almost for me. Like it's almost just like something that's always been like music and drums has been just something that's like I can't live without either of them. But
Yeah.
like because like I notice when I get separated from like music and drums. So like a lot of like, back to coronavirus, but like being at home, like not really being able to like play because like drums are fucking loud. Like I live in an apartment and with like, a bunch of other units, and like they're gonna be pissed off if I play drums as loudly as I play in, an apartment. So like
You gotta
you
get.
kind of, yeah. What's that?
This is what you gotta get.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all
Yep.
mesh and silent cymbals. But literally,
There we go.
I had the same problem. I didn't play
Right.
for 3 months, and I
Right.
started losing my mind a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, like it's like a it's a release. It's I don't know, sometimes it feels like you're like speaking to something or like something's coming through you, you know?
Yeah.
It's not only is it like an instrument, but it's like a spiritual thing. So like if you're really connected with it, and you get separated from it, it feels like you're losing a part of your soul, you know? Um, so back to playing drums. Uh, then like I just kind of got obsessed with like hearing stuff on the radio on my way to school, and like I would get songs stuck in my head, and then I would like figure out who that band was. So I would be like, I would hear like a Led Zeppelin song, and I remember like getting a Led Zeppelin tape and like trying to play Immigrant Song. Um, so like little things like that would like stick in my head, and I would try to learn to play it, and then moved on to like middle school with like symphonic band. Um, what's it like? Yeah, just like symphonic band and band class.
Yeah.
Then high school was drumline and marching band, and then kind of ended up being in like some bands in high school. Played like percussion, um, and then kind of got to like college age where I started playing like a hip hop band where we did like. Sorry if you can hear that. I'm outside. Um,
Cool. Just cars driving by.
just cars driving by. Um, Yeah, I played with this like improvisational hip hop band. So we were like really deeply inspired by the Roots, but also like we had this very jam band aspect about us where we would like play these like 20-minute hip hop jams. And I think that's kind of where I like started to really cut my teeth um, with improvisation with other musicians and like learning to really have an ear. Um, so it kind of connected to like learning how to play all these songs by ear, like listening to Led Zeppelin and like hearing how the musicians played, and then kind of really connecting the dots improvisationally and like really listening to other people and kind of figuring out what language they were speaking, trying to speak it back with them. So that's where I really like kind of learned to improv. But I played in like a punk band. What else did I do? Yeah, exactly. I think I've tried to just play everything I
I mean,
possibly
my
can.
first band was a punk band. We did a
Yeah,
lot of Blink 182 because it was that
sure.
period, you know. So I feel you on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think some players will like pigeonhole themselves sometimes in specifically what they want to play, or like what, or they're only inspired by one thing because they only like listen to one thing. But like, the more stuff you try to play, like you're gonna find something fun about playing country music. I promise. Like you're gonna find something fun about it. Like the groove is always there. It's not, if you can playing a groove is like the key most thing about playing drums. Like it's finding that thing that makes everybody else sound good.
Yeah,
I think is like is one of my favorite things about playing drums.
great. So that's mostly the job. That's the job.
Right, right. My favorite thing is the job. So
Yeah.
I guess you never work a day in your life. I guess
Cool.
something like that.
That is great. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, and sometimes even like finding yourself into new things can just have endless possibilities. I mean,
Sure.
I I really got into seeing jam band shows because my brother, being a nice older brother, was like, "Do you want to come to a concert with me and my friends? We're going to see Soul Live." But I had never
Oh
heard of,
man.
and this
Oh
was
man. Soul Life
2002.
Live, man. Oh.
Yeah, so this was 2002. I had never heard of Soul Live, but I heard of the band and knew because I was into. This is still like, it was starting to fade a little bit, but like we're still in like Limp Bizkit, Korn, new metal time period of music.
That shit
So I
rules.
thought he said Soulfly.
Dude, that would have been fucking awesome.
So I was like, yeah, I'll
I would have gone
go
to
to
see
Soulfly with
Soulfly.
you. This is gonna be great. And the and it wasn't. It was Soul Live, but the opening band was also this band Montube. That's a Seattle-based band, but their singer was Reggie Watts.
Okay.
So this is before Reggie was in Soul Live,
Yeah.
and then obviously having like his successful comedy career. So that was like the first thing right off the bat that like blew me away. And then Soul Live, and then I became like obsessed with Soul Live, started to go to more and more jam band shows, and ultimately found myself in the jam band circuit, if you will.
Yep. Yep.
Opening yourself to new.
It's a gateway drug.
It was the gateway band. Yeah.
Dave Matthews Band is the gateway band.
Yeah.
Well, ironically I saw Soul Live open for Dave Matthews Band like I think 2001, and it was like I was so blown away by Soul Live. I was like, I can probably just leave. Like I was like, I don't even need to see Dave Matthews Band. We can get the hell out of here. That was one of the best things I'll ever see. So I'm with you right there.
Yeah. I mean, even those kinds of situations at that point, like Rashawn was playing in Lettuce, and then through that playing with Soul Live, and it was through Soul Live opening for Dave Matthews Band that they found out about Rashawn, and eventually he became a member of the band.
Yeah.
You never know where it's going to lead, or finding out about Aqueous and really liking the band and seeing them, and then one day they need a drummer,
right?
Which was very similar for me with Dope Pop.
Right.
If it wasn't for the fact that I was obsessed with Redivider, their album before I joined the band.
Sure.
That was just in my CD player. I was like, without knowing it, I was memorizing some of like the hardier, the hard proggier songs, so that when I found out that they needed a drummer and I auditioned, I already like had the hardest songs in my pocket.
Right. Like, oh, I know this change. The same thing happened with me, and it made it much easier. And also, even when we do like covers and stuff, a lot of our cover ideas are like we're all coming from a very similar vein somehow all the time. So like, even in my first audition, we were like doing stuff that shouldn't have like been done. Like we were like all of a sudden, like Evan would be like playing a Korn song, and I would be like, I know that Korn song, and like everybody would know the Korn song, or like we'd do like Blink 182, like just out of nowhere. This was my audition. Like it wasn't like we'd been playing together our whole lives. It wasn't like we'd been playing together for an hour. Like this was, the first time we've met.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a love at first sight thing, I think, too. When you can connect with musicians that quickly, speak the same language.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether that language is goofy or whatever it is, if you can speak it, like that's the cool things about. I think that's a really cool thing about bands too, and other musicians is that we all speak the same language, but each has our own dialect of that language, or we could all communicate without speaking, which is super cool.
Yeah, you just have to be yourself in doing that. That's what makes that band unique to itself. Mm-hmm. Even if you're highly influenced from other bands, your other influences will come. I mean, that's what makes you the musician that you are, or any musician they are. Right. It's just all of their influence that's rolled into one to make them individual, but also through that to be able to find their own voice within it all. And that takes time. I remember for years and years, me just trying to be someone else. And ultimately, I realized that if I really wanted to keep a gig forever, or for however long I wanted it to be, that you just have to kind of be yourself no matter what. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. But at least you know that they're happy with you, not you trying to be
Right.
someone for however long and then
Exactly.
flipping the switch.
Got to be authentic.
Exactly.
Why be somebody else when you can be yourself?
Yeah. So,
So
are you lefty?
I I don't know what the hell I
Or
am,
are you
man.
just because you play open, at least
So
most of the
right.
time you're
So
playing open.
so I the only things I do left-handed is like I guess play drums and like I write left-handed, but I like throw a ball right-handed. I like played hockey right-handed. So like I do a lot of things kind of ambidextrously, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I I don't really know. It depends on what I want to lead with. Because I can also play, cross stick, but it just kind of depends on what I'm doing, I guess. Because sometimes I can have a little bit better feel with my right hand on something rather than my left hand.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that applies to, when you're playing open handed, your one is on the left and it's also on the bass drum. So like you get your left and right kind of coming across at each other. So you're kind of like crossing your brain a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, working on all of the various patterns and stickings that you can do is awesome. Like that's one of my favorite
Right.
things about Claude Coleman, the drummer for Ween, is
Hmm.
that like it'll literally be like the first two beats of a bar and then switch, or like it doesn't matter. Like all of the
Right.
rules are out the window. You
And
don't
that's
know if
fun to
it's
do.
lefty or righty.
Right.
So
That's so fun to do.
yeah, so I just wanted to know because I wasn't sure because I know most of the time I see you playing open-handed, you have a righty setup. I wasn't sure if maybe
Yeah.
because you're lefty, but it's always easier to hop on someone else's drum set, or you learned on someone's drum set that was right-handed.
That was so when I got my first real kit, my uncle had set it up for me and he set it up as if it were a righty kit. So I just kind of just gravitated towards, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it. So I've never really watched or seen, I hadn't really seen anybody play drums before. I just like inherently listened to like the drums for some reason. It was like drawn to the drums. So I really only just kind of, that's how I started doing it. So it was kind of by accident, really.
Yeah, great accident,
It's a
and
good,
you really
good
help
little accident to
yourself.
have.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean it's a major uh, like that puts the ball in your court in so many different ways
sure.
because there are lots of times where you get up if you had a lefty situation or you're opening for a band and there isn't enough space for your drum set
Right.
and you're forced to use someone else's drum set, you'd be kind of screwed.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
had definitely drummers who are lefty and they're like, hey, we're going to use your drum set for backline. And I'm like, no, you're not, because you're not
No,
switching
you're gonna have to
anything
take my
around.
whole kit apart.
Unless you can learn how
Right.
to play righty, then yeah, you're.
Right. That's always my biggest fear when, like, if we have an opener or like we're opening for somebody and that exact same scenario, like, that's my biggest fear because I hate to not, be able to let somebody use my kit, but like I think that's the straw.
You'll
That's really the only thing that would,
you'll get over it.
stop me, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I only say that because I used to be the same way. I
Sure.
want to be very helpful and considerate to
Yeah.
everyone, but ultimately, I've learned that if another drum set in any sort of capacity can be built on stage along with my drum set, that
Build
is
it.
what I go with. Only because I want people to be comfortable. And if someone can play my drum
Yeah.
set and not move anything, then they're more than welcome. Or if they need to play my drum set, that's kind of where I'm at. Not because I'm
Right.
trying to be a dick
Yeah.
or I was an opener once and I had to do like it's not that at all.
Sure.
It has everything to do with the fact that when I try to be nice and do that, it ultimately, in some way, not intentionally from the other person, but it ends
Right.
up biting me in the ass when
Every time.
I need to go and sit and something's a little off, or like I just can't get like my flow,
Sure.
my mojo
Well,
off.
like it's almost the same as like, somebody wants to use the guitarist's guitar,
Yeah,
but like they don't want to use their strings, so they have to like change I think it's comparable to that. Like drums, yes, they're like a big, like clunky thing, and they look like, they're every single kit looks the same.
Yeah.
But like there's like parts of it that I could injure myself if, like my hi-hat's too far over, or like something gets moved and my hi-hat's too far over, or like or just like a slight variation in the setup can, like, throw problems with your elbows, or like just things like that. And one night can cause an injury if like something was moved and you don't realize it until midway through the set, and you're like, well, can't do anything about it now. So that's
Yeah.
my drumming gripe, I guess.
That or summer breaks or whatever it might be. I mean,
Right,
Dopapod
right,
did a whole tour, like a month or something like that, with the Nth Power, and I love that band, and I love Nikki Glaspie, their drummer. She's a beast, absolutely incredible. But there would be times where there wouldn't be enough room for her to have her drum set, which is what she wanted. But she would have to use mine, and we just swap out cymbals and the snare and pedal if she wanted. Um, but the way that she would play and the way my drums were set up, the angle was different in such a way that she would like dimple and dig into my tom heads so differently that like by the end of like every show, my heads like they like needed to be changed, or I would go up
right,
to play 2 sets, almost 3 hours of
right.
music, and my drums like I can't keep them in tune because this like badass drummer who I'm already have anxiety that like I am nowhere near the player that she is like literally destroying my drum set. So I
Yeah,
learned
I
to
also
get
don't like to destroy other people's kits too. Like that, I would rather like beat the shit out of my own shit.
yeah.
Is my lighting okay? It's starting to get dark out here.
I mean, it's fine. I can see your face. It's like mine's too bright, and yours is like it's like the light and the darkness. There you go.
Tonally. Is that better?
Yeah, yeah, that works great.
Great. Now the lighting's good.
Yeah. So, what's keeping you sane during this time period?
Oh man, I think the like just the slowing down of everything has kind of kept me sane. Just kind of like having some normal time, I guess. Like not being like it's kind of nice to like be at home for like an extended period of time and not be like not being like anxious about having to go back out, or like if the next tour is going to be successful, or there's a lot that comes along with it because we're all operating these small businesses essentially, and our all of our small businesses are pretty much wiped out. So it's I think it's healthy to like just kind of pump the brakes every once in a while, and
Totally.
after you do it for the guys have been doing it for forever, and this is kind of their first opportunity to kind of take a breather. And for me, I went from playing a show maybe twice a month to playing 100 shows a year, and like for 4 years, almost 5 years straight. I mean, like, kind of going from one lifestyle to the other it's stressful. Like so, like kind of. I mean, I miss it, but it's also really nice to like just have a breather and kind of reassess like what necessary work needs to be put in to kind of operate this new landscape that we're kind of about to experience as musicians. Like what is the next thing that happens? Because it's the whole industry is completely upside down right now. So
Yeah,
what do?
you do what you can. I mean, I'm actually
Sure.
pretty grateful for some aspects of this, mostly in the fact that like I've learned to love teaching again,
Yeah.
teaching drum lessons, pretty much Tuesday through Friday, like every week,
Yeah. That's great.
having at least one lesson a day uh, for 4 days a week has been great. And also being able to take some time to like, fortunately I do now have like a studio that I can get into and play, but for a minute I didn't. And also things were like, I was so strict. I mean,
Sure.
I'm still pretty strict. I'm not really hanging out with anyone. You know,
Right.
I have two friends that I see. Well, when it's nice, we'll go outside on like a hike and keep our distance.
Sure.
You know, but that's pretty much the extent of it. Other than my lovely fiance, who, fortunately, even though we're in a small apartment, like we love spending time with each
Sure.
other. So, you know,
Yeah, it's
that
definitely nice when you have somebody to spend the time with.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, for a minute there, like I agree with you that it's nice that we finally, especially when you're constantly touring and doing 100 shows a year. I'm not doing as much anymore, but at one point I was
Sure.
doing that or more. So I feel you. It's nice to be able to have that time to do things you normally don't get to do, or not
Yeah.
be like, okay, I'm on the road forever, and then I'm gonna go home for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'm on the road
Right.
forever again,
Right.
which is what it used to be with Dopapod. It's
Yeah.
like 6 to 9 weeks, and then you'd go home for 3, and then you'd do it all over again. Whereas
Yeah.
now it's like I have, I don't go out for longer than 3 weeks at a time,
Right.
and then I'm home for at least that amount of time. So
Right.
it's a good balance. But right now, there's like learning, a million new traits and just kind of figure it out, put it into
Yeah.
perspective pretty fast. What happens when your life and everyone around you and the entire world just kind of shuts down? How
Right.
do you survive? What are you going to do? So it's
Yeah.
been nice.
Yeah. I also I took up I got a sewing machine, so
There you
I'm
go.
yeah, just some I'm doing more. Dude, I have so many damn hobbies. Like that, I have too many hobbies that I kind of just get wrapped up with one forever, and then like I'll stop and I'll have to jump to the other one, and then I'll jump to the other one. So I feel like hobby ADD, I think.
Is
But
that how like the Wings show came about? Is this
well, now we can't really go to any wing spots, so it's kind of. I guess we might be able to, but I also don't want to just keep going to a bunch of wing places, and I guess I could get takeout, but
you could. I
there's
don't.
got to be a way to
I
do it.
haven't been doing any take. I've done takeout once this entire time.
Really? Oh
I
man,
mean, I love cooking, so
I do too, but I got I got so damn tired of cooking. I gotta get some takeout every once in a while.
yeah.
What have you been making?
I mean, just about everything. Tonight was an easy meal because I did my food shop and then I had to teach a lesson, and then to like not be completely overwhelmed before doing this thing. It's usually like a Beyond Burger day. I mean, so I'm still vegan,
Okay,
so
okay,
it's that's the other thing too. Is like there's only so much
sure,
food you can take that you can kind of take out, as well as like
yeah,
sometimes like vegan food gets a bad rap because there's a lot of like pretty bad vegan food out there.
sure, dude.
Uh,
I've been experimenting with some vegan stuff. I actually made a vegan dish last night,
oh,
and
nice.
I'm actually like I don't think I could ever be vegan, but I could make the choice to be predominantly vegan,
Yeah,
like a majority of the time.
yeah,
But I've been having a lot of fun with it, just because I think a lot of people approach being vegan or vegan food as trying to make it meat again,
yeah,
and that's not what like being vegan is. It's not really what cooking is. It's not trying to transform something into what it's not. It's
yeah.
making food be better, like making food taste good. So roasting some vegetables and making them, learning how you can use the vegetables, and there's tons of different ways to cook something, and you'll get a different flavor profile.
Dude,
So I'm having fun with it.
cashews have been a game changer.
Yeah.
So like today I had Beyond Burger, so that was pretty standard, easy meal to cook. But yesterday was like making all the things for vegan Crunchwrap Supremes,
Oh,
and making
yeah,
sofritas from scratch, and making
yeah,
nacho cheese out of cashews, which is like a game changer somehow. I had no
yeah.
idea cashews were going to be the greatest thing ever. Like even the other day was Greek pitas and just stuffing pita pockets with all the
Huh.
stuff, but making vegan tzatziki out of cashew.
Nice.
It's pretty damn good. And just like there's been tons of stuff, that we try and make like a new or different meal or two
Yeah,
a week, and then we, have our like kind of go-tos. Taco night and doing, making sofritas and stuff is pretty easy to do, and then
sure.
having like the leftovers from that. So cashews can make nacho cheese. I have questions. Okay, so here's what you gotta do.
Yeah, I have questions too. I was about to ask the same
Yeah.
question.
Well, with doing things and making like creams or cheeses with cashew, you just kind of have to soak them and get them really
Yeah.
soft, and then they can blend real easily. So you soak them for a while, depending on what you're making, like anywhere from an hour to 4 hours. For nacho cheese, it's as easy as cashews, um, ch- um, green chilies, taco
Are you using
seasoning, and
nutritional
water.
yeast?
Yeah. So like diced green chilies in a can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
just not. You just take cashews, so after they've been soaked, a little can of green chilies, some taco seasoning, and some water, and it like
Nice.
you can't microwave. You can't really heat it up because it is still nut, so
Yeah.
it congeals
The
and
fats will
in
separate.
a weird way, but like
Yeah.
it's really good. And a similar thing
Huh.
for tzatziki. You're just kind of
Yeah.
cashews and then adding all the same ingredients that you would in a normal one, the herbs and the garlic and various things.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm gonna try it. I've got a ton of cashews, so
Try it out.
I'm
Cashews.
in. I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah.
I used cashews in the dish last night. I did a curry butternut squash
Ooh, yeah.
with garbanzo beans, dates, uh, tomatoes, full garlic, onions. Um, it ended up pretty good.
Yeah.
I was pretty satisfied with it.
It's
So
delicious. I
I'll
mean,
do it again.
yeah,
I'll do
I'm
it again.
very similar that like I never thought that I could do vegan. I
Yeah,
loved cheese too much. And then like the household I grew up in was very like everything was meat centric.
sure,
In
sure,
fact,
sure.
at my brother's bachelor party, our friend who couldn't make it worked for a butcher and gave us, no joke, 100 pounds of meat. So it was like there was a time period where I was very much in that, and then somewhere along the lines, like trying, it really stemmed from being like more eco-friendly and
Sure.
sustainability, that I just kind of found myself in this position, and then realizing that me and my fiance could make good food if we just spent time
Yeah.
and proper ingredients and kind of knew what we were doing. That it really wasn't missed too much. I think the only thing that I haven't been able to find, like to replicate, if you will, even though, like you were saying, it's not the point. But the only thing that if I'm kind of craving or want something of my past that is not really possible is like a steak, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah,
Nothing
I've been
compares to that.
full vegan now for. I mean, I'll occasionally eat, if I'm on the road, some dairy, or if I feel like I really need the nutrients and I haven't gotten it, I'll eat like a piece of fish. But like,
Sure.
it's very rare. And during this time period, I've been 100% vegan and also no alcohol. I haven't had alcohol in 5 months,
Wow.
but I have had this.
Wow.
I said in the beginning when no one was on, hop water.
Hop water.
I highly recommend hop water.
I think I've had it a couple times, but
It's
yeah, I
really
think
good.
I've spent a lot of the quarantine drinking a lot. I think I'm on the reverse. It was
Yeah,
like, why not make a bunch of different kinds of cocktails? We got nothing to do.
totally. I mean, it originally started as like, how can I keep my immune system as strong as possible?
Right.
So that was immediately like, okay, I'm gonna stop drinking alcohol, and then it just kind of became like I don't miss alcohol. So
Right.
like I'm not saying I'm never gonna drink again, but like ultimately, like I don't miss it whatsoever. It's definitely saving
Sure.
a lot of money during a time where it seems millions of people are trying to figure out where they're getting the money. So
Right. Good point.
yeah, it's been nice. But I hear you. I mean, making a nice cocktail and chilling out,
Yeah.
relaxing, enjoying the fruit of your labor is what it's all about right now.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah,
Anything that you get to do with your hands, I think
yeah,
that's pretty satisfying. If you make something with your hands, regardless of if it's like not the best thing that you've ever made or eaten, like you still made it, and it's it feels good to do that process and like really be involved with something that's like going in your body.
yeah.
It's I love cooking too. So um, you know
Have
that's
you have you made anything? What have you been making with your sewing machine?
so I haven't really completed a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm working on reworking clothing. So like finding stuff at the thrift store and using it as existing fabric. So taking clothes that might not, have the same amount of love that they could have gotten, and kind of changing them a little bit, reworking them, and I'm working on like 5 panel hats, um,
Wow.
all kinds of stuff. So I'm just trying to get the patterns down now, and eventually I'd like to, maybe put some up for auction or do something cool and donate to somebody who needs it.
Eventually cutting out the middleman, you're going to be making all of
Exactly.
the Aqueous merch.
That's too much work. That's way too much work. That'd be cool though.
Yeah,
So just staying busy, keeping my hands busy,
no, that's what
learning
it's all
learning
about.
new skills and just having fun.
Well, that is great to hear, man. Well, I really appreciate you taking some time and doing this thing.
Of course, dude. It's good to see your face again.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the good thing about this is it's like I know I'll
Yeah,
at least have a solid conversation with one drummer friend once a
at
week.
least once a week.
Yeah,
Dude, that's a great idea. I need to do something like this.
yeah, dude. It's neat. It's like everyone's here.
Yeah, it's great. Well, hell yeah, dude. It has been a pleasure. I appreciate you having me.
Anytime. Once I cycle through a bunch of this, I wasn't sure if I was gonna do any repeats, but at some point I might have some other people.
Am
So
I worthy of a repeat? That's the
yeah,
real
I mean,
question.
sure. We're
I'll
just
play it.
we're just shooting the shit. We might have to dig for some more. We can't do the so how did it all start conversation.
Well, by the next time, I'll have some hats done. I'll have already sent you one, and then we can wear matching hats or
Oh, we're
something. Or,
matching. Yeah,
yeah, we're wearing matching hair today, so matching hats is on the docket for next time.
true. Yeah, my hair is it's getting long.
This is
This has
way
been another
longer.
thing. Why not grow out my hair? And well, I took out the sides because I can't deal with my hair's
Yeah,
too
I've got
thin.
some weird shit happening on the sides right now. It's embarrassing.
It's okay. I missed some spots, so I have some like coming off here, but it's
Sure.
it's fine.
Nobody will notice. Nobody's
No,
gonna notice.
I mean
You're
this
hanging
goes
out
up on
inside.
this
This is
goes up
time.
on YouTube every week, so it'll
All
live
right.
there forever. But
Forever.
yeah.
Well, hell yeah, brother.
Well, stay safe and continue doing what you're doing, and I'll chat with you soon. Hopefully we'll play some shows again. Come
Fingers crossed.
come spring, summer.
Come soon. Come spring or summer. I hope so.
Yeah. All right,
All right,
man. Well,
brother.
peace. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, peace. Be good, brother.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Um, I first off would like to thank Hop Water, unofficial sponsor here, and hopefully, me saying this isn't jumping the gun. I forgot to confirm, but next week's guest should be Mr. Johnny Rad. So tune in next week, and I will see you here at Instagram every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.